Hey guys, what's up? Joe Paris here, and welcome to beautiful Berlin, Germany. And in this video, I'm going to share with you the top things that I was able to experience as a tourist. Because before I go to new cities, I'm always looking on YouTube, Instagram, and Google to find the really fun, cool things to do and see in a very short amount of time. I was actually here on a business trip for a few days, and I wanted to see as much as I could since I don't live here in Berlin. So this video is geared for people who are maybe tourists themselves or looking to just kind of hit the major things here in Berlin, and I really hope that this video helps you. Now, I don't claim to be an expert tour guide or somebody who is going to be able to show you everything that Berlin has to offer. This video is really for those who wanna hit the highlights, the more of the touristy kind of things, but also the really cool history things here in Berlin. And let's go ahead now and dive into the rest of the video. The rest of this video will be broken into 3 different sections. We're first going to discuss how to travel to Berlin, hotel recommendations, and public transportation. Second, I'm going to share with you my top tourist attractions and must-see history around the city. And third, I'm going to share with you a variety of food options, including plant-based and vegan options for you to enjoy while you're here. Make sure to stay tuned to the end of this video for a very special bonus as well. So let's get started. First, let's talk about transportation to Berlin. Now, a fun fact, Berlin is one of the 5 most visited cities by tourists in the entire world and is ranked in the top 15 cities based on quality of living as of 2019. So it's a very safe place to go. From my experience, I never felt unsafe, and this is really important when traveling to a new city. Now, coming to Berlin, there are 2 different airport options. The first is TXL, or Berlin Tegel, and the second is Berlin Schönefeld. I flew into TXL, or Berlin Tegel, and it was a pretty easy process. Now, depending upon where you're coming from, you may have to connect from another city in Europe because this airport isn't huge. It's a bit outdated, and Berlin is rumored to be building a new airport sometime in the future, but we don't know when that's going to happen yet. To get to your hotel, you're probably going to want to take a taxi or an Uber, and these are the best, most convenient options, but they're also the most expensive. I would anticipate around $30 to $40 or 35 to 45 euros to get anywhere to the center of the city. If you're looking to save some money, you could try to take public transportation to where you need to go. Now, here's my recommendations on where to stay. When traveling as a tourist, your location is essential. I myself stayed in Mitte, which is the central part of Berlin. My location was ideal for seeing a lot of the tourist attractions that I'm going to share with you later on in this video. The 2 hotels that I highly recommend from my own personal experience are the Marriott Berlin, which is where I stayed, and the Ritz-Carlton Berlin, which is where my business conference was. There are a lot of other hotel options that are much cheaper in Berlin. This was just my experience, and I will say it was definitely worth the money. Both hotels offered first-class amenities. I really enjoyed going to the gym and the sauna and taking some laps in the swimming pool to get my day started. I also found the rooms to be very spacious. I had a really nice bathroom with heated showers, and I had some really nice views of the city. Now, my room was an upgraded one, so if you book a standard room, it may be a little bit more basic. Now, a pro tip that I have for you is to make sure to have your breakfast included with your stay. The morning buffet was absolutely spectacular, and it was offered along with my business conference, so I would definitely go through and try to have the breakfast included with your room price. Now let's talk about how to get around the city. I found walking to be the most efficient and money-saving option. Now, there are also a lot of electric scooters that you can rent, and bikes that you can rent really just right outside. This makes a very easy and convenient way to move around the city as well, and it's very reasonably priced. A pro tip is the city is very bike friendly, and it even has its own designated bike lanes. This is a great option for seeing more of the city in a very quick amount of time. Now, everything that you're going to see regarding the tourist attractions in this video, I was able to see just by walking. So you don't have to rent a scooter or a bike to be able to see everything that you're going to see in this video. Now, taxis are also available at all the major hotels around the city, and they're really easy to get in and out of. Now let's talk about the tourist attractions. I'm going to share with you my top tourist attractions and the ones that I personally was able to visit. Here they are in a logistical order. Number 1, the Brandenburg Gate. This gate is a famous gate marking the entrance to the city. It is located in the western part of the city center of Berlin within Mitte. It is also one of the most recognized landmarks in Germany and a place where many tourists come to take photos. A pro tip: come in the morning to avoid the huge crowds because there will be a lot of people in the afternoons no matter what day of the week that you go. Number 2, the Government District in Reichstag Building. If you're looking for a great view of the city and to learn more about the German government history, the Reichstag Building in Berlin's Government District is the place. It also has a glass dome and it's incredibly impressive, and I was able to see this at night. Now, in order for you to view the glass dome and rooftop, you must first register. You can do this for free online, but bookings happen months in advance, so I would recommend planning this as early as you can. Now, a pro tip is to register right across the street. It's actually a very simple and easy process. I was able to make a reservation for a few days in advance, and it worked out really smoothly. And all you have to do is find this little place right across from where the building is located. Another thing, make sure to have your passport when you actually go and view this building. They won't let you in without proper identification. Number 3, the Jewish Memorial. This is a Holocaust memorial located walking distance from Brandenburg Gate in the Government District. It's covered with more than 2,700 concrete slabs arranged in a grid pattern on a sloping field. You will also be able to read about the history of the memorial and World War II with panels that are really close to this location. Number 4 is Checkpoint Charlie. Checkpoint Charlie was the former crossing from east to west Berlin and is one of the most photographed places in the city. Now, on some days, you'll actually see people dressed up as American soldiers to take pictures with a lot of the tourists. It's a little checkpoint, and there's some really cool history to go along with it, and they have a whole little area for you to learn about the history and see the checkpoint. A pro tip, you can actually buy a piece of the Berlin Wall very close to Checkpoint Charlie. There's a little gift shop right across the street, so if you're looking for a souvenir, that's a good place to get one. Number 5, Museum Island. My visit to Museum Island was one that I will always remember. Around Museum Island, you will see lots of impressive architecture, waterways, and world-class museums. The great thing about these museums is that they're all pretty close to each other, so it makes for the logistics very simple. A pro tip is that you can actually buy your tickets right on Museum Island at the museums, but you may be asked to make a reservation, but it's something to think about when you want to go to view these museums. So what are some of the must-see museums and my recommendations? The first was the Pergamon Museum, and this is one of the top 10 museums in the world, and this museum has a replica of the ancient Babylonian palace wall. It is spectacular, and I 100% recommend seeing this. The second museum that I went to was called the New Museum, which is located right next to the Pergamon Museum. At the time that I went to this museum, I was able to see the golden-headed Nefertiti and a lot of other ancient Egyptian artifacts. These are just the 2 museums that I was able to do while I was there, but I would highly recommend seeing them and spending at least a few hours in each. Next up, I would recommend going to Potsdamer Platz and the Mall of Berlin. Now, Potsdamer Platz is a plaza. It's kind of in the heart of Berlin with a lot of modern buildings, restaurants, and hotels. This is actually where the 2 hotels I recommend staying was at, and this is really the central place of where I was when I was in Berlin. It is also home to the Mall of Berlin, which is one of the biggest malls in the city. It's a new mall with a lot of food options, clothing, and more. Pro tip, you can also see bits of the Berlin Wall in multiple locations in this area, which leads us to our next attraction, which is the Festival of Lights Berlin. Now, this event only takes place at night in October, and what happens is all of the landmarks across the city get illuminated with these projections and 3D maps. But if you're in Potsdamer Platz, everything is illuminated and it looks really cool. They have some really cool designs and things being projected against the buildings. So if you're in Berlin during October, I would definitely go venture out in the city, at night. And lastly, you have to see the Berlin Wall when you're in Berlin. The cool thing is there's actually multiple different places for you to see the wall, and it's kind of spread out all around the city. So there's not one specific location. Now let's talk about the food. The food in Berlin was absolutely amazing. Here are my top recommendations and the places I was able to eat while in Berlin. First, you have to try a currywurst. This is the traditional pork sausage made with ketchup and curry powder. I had one of the best ones at a place called Best Wurst in the Mall of Berlin, but you can get this in a variety of places around the city. Honestly, it was pretty good, and the French fries were pretty good as well. Something that I would definitely recommend trying, and it's very inexpensive. Now, if you're looking to check out a more high-end restaurant, I highly recommend this place called Facile. This restaurant is a 2 Michelin star restaurant and is located at the Mandala Hotel right in the middle of the city. While I only had dessert, it was well worth the money, and this is a white tablecloth, expensive restaurant. You know that you found the right place when your dessert has dessert, and you even have a pre-dessert to your dessert. If you're looking for a great vegan or vegetarian option, I highly recommend going to a place called the Little Green Rabbit. I literally ate lunch here every single time I could because they have a build your own salad bar with baked potato soups, and it was very well priced. They also have really good fresh pressed juice, and this was one of my favorite places to eat, especially for lunch. Now for dinner, there was a few other places that I went to. There's a place called Koa, which is an Asian style restaurant, and they had really good bowls of noodles and rice, and I would highly recommend going to this place. It has a fun vibe to it, and the food was fantastic. Another place that I had dinner was called Armit. It's an Indian restaurant, and the place was packed every single night. The Indian food was fantastic, and I highly recommend going to this place if you would like to have a little bit more spicy food. And for a midnight snack, I'd recommend trying a hot dog and maybe some ice cream. There's a lot of Haagen-Dazs around the city, and they're actually pretty nice places to sit down and eat. I also really enjoyed the hot dog that I had, and it was right by my hotel in the Marriott Berlin. Now before we end this video, I wanted to give you a bonus to Berlin and something I actually wasn't able to experience, but highly recommend either way. The nightlife in Berlin is one of the best scenes in the world. They're known for their techno, and they even have the hardest club to get into called Berghain. If you want to learn more about the clubs and the nightlife, I definitely recommend checking that out on a different video, but I wanted to mention this because this is something that Berlin is 100% known for, and I even had some friends going out and doing some nightlife things while I was in town. So that's going to do it for this video. If you've enjoyed this travel guide and you found it to be helpful, check out my how to vlog class where I teach you how to vlog and make a video very similar to this. It's a best-selling class right now with more than 15,000 students. I'll leave a link in the description with a very special coupon code. Thanks for watching this video. I look forward to creating more travel guides and vlogs for you in the future, so make sure to give this video a thumbs up as well, and I'll see you in the next one.